It may have taken me forever, but I finally finished the latest young adult novel from the High Republic series, Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Older. I had very high expectations for this book, as prior to its release I was seeing nothing but rave reviews. Everyone was saying it was their new favorite Star Wars book, and having loved everything in the High Republic so far, I couldn't wait to get a copy. Sadly, however, I struggled with this book so much, and it was really disappointing. The ending, however, does make up for some of it. I will definitely give the book that. However, for a book with 484 pages, it took me until about the last 40 pages to really enjoy the story. And that's just the thing. There's nothing wrong with the book, in all honesty. I just felt that the story was kind of bland to me. I was excited to see that the Jedi were going to Corellia, as it's a planet we know a lot about, but we see very little of. I love that the main characters were Reath, Silas, and Comac Vitus, but it just didn't work for me. The whole first half of the book revolves around a security specialist who goes by Crash, who is heavily investigating the disappearance of one of her friends during a supposed Nihil attack. The attack seems similar to that of the Nihil, but no one believes that the Nihil could have infiltrated a core world without anyone knowing. With this information, the Jedi are brought in to help her solve this case and stop any Nihil plans that may be taking place right under their noses. Reath, Comac, Ram, and Cantum all aid in the search for Crash's friend and work to uncover this new plot brought upon from the Nihil. But it just didn't do it for me. The story just felt like it was dragging on with no clues turning up or any missing links in the case. It felt like a dead end. I didn't enjoy the perspective changes, especially when the story focused on Comac and Cantum. Cantum is the first Jedi, I believe, to use they-them pronouns, which I personally think is awesome. I'm loving all of the inclusion that comes from the High Republic. And this arc focuses on Cantum's story of how they fell in love with someone, and Cantum spent so much time worrying about their place in the Jedi Order and what Master Yoda would have them do to center themselves and find their place in the galaxy, while the whole time Comac just listens in pure shock and surprise that Cantum had fallen in love. And I thought it was really nice. We've gotten several flashback stories for a lot of the Jedi in these books, but this one was by far my favorite. It just felt so unique, and the story was something many people could relate to, the classic forbidden love story. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Reath is still struggling with his place in the galaxy. He wants to become a Jedi Knight more than anything, but being surrounded by so much death, loss, and destruction, he feels as if he's not doing enough to stop everything from happening. Which is why I think the end of the book got me so much. I spent roughly the first 400 pages of this book being disinterested, but with the remaining 84 pages, the book managed to turn itself around and give me the hook I was hoping to get from the very beginning. The book has been out for a while now, but if by chance you haven't read it and you don't want the ending spoiled, then I suggest skipping ahead to this point in the video here. Otherwise, we will get some spoilers in 3, 2, 1. The ending, I thought, was extremely powerful. They've managed their victory against the Nihil, however, all of the Jedi are jolted awake by a disturbance in the Force later that night, which is, of course, the crashing of Starlight Beacon. From this, Comac instantly realizes that Orla Jareni is gone, and his whole world begins to crumble. Comac and Orla grew up together and were Padawans training together, to the point where Comac developed a secret love for Orla but could never tell her. But he has to hold it together as he has a very important task to play out, that task being the knighting of his apprentice. Reath, however, still struggles and feels that he is not ready for this achievement, but graciously accepts the honor of becoming a Jedi Knight, but with a cost. As he's knighted, Comac hands Reath his lightsaber. Reath is confused by this until Comac explains that the lightsaber belongs to Reath now, and that Comac is no longer a Jedi, and leaves the room abruptly, leaving Reath with even more questions and no answers. It was such a shocking ending and so unexpected, but I understand why it happened. My theory is that Comac's judgment would have been clouded moving forward as a Jedi because of the death of Orla Jareni. Seeing as Comac was secretly in love with her, knowing that the Nihil were responsible for her death would probably lead to Comac fighting out of anger and revenge, and instead felt it best to denounce his title as Jedi and plan to work everything out on his own. However, with the way he left, you can't convince me that he will never return. We will definitely see Comac return at some point to help in some way. Overall, though, the character dynamics were great. I never had a problem with any one character. They all needed to be there and served an important role in the story. I will say that Midnight Horizon shocked me a few times, as Daniel Jose Older is really good with writing graphic scenes. There were a few fight scenes that were explained in gruesome detail that left me feeling a little freaked out by how gross it was, but I think it added to the realism of the story and how war is not all fun as Star Wars can sometimes show. I am still disappointed that I did not like the book in its entirety, but I'm glad that I was able to find positives about it. And again, seeing as this review is very late, I feel that more people have had the chance to read it now, in which case I definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you have read it, did you like Midnight Horizon? How do you feel about the overall plot? And was the ending as emotional for you as it was for me? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.